welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Hey, y'all.
Hello. Man, so this has been a very interesting week and a half. Sometimes when you get sick or experience things like the vid, you are kind of forced yet again. This is like a lesson I keep learning over and over again. You're forced to really stop and think and sit within and draw more attention on healing and focusing, not just on the physical aspect, but it starts to bring about some things that are on the mental, the mental aspect, your thoughts, your emotions. Where are you imbalanced, things of that nature, right? So one of the things that has really kind of hit me hard, I wanted to come and celebrate your birthday with you, but clearly I can't go getting everyone sick. So I wasn't able to go.
Which is appreciated.
Right. So silver lining. And I had kind of a hard time with it, and I started to do this thing that I think a lot of people do when they're not feeling well. But I got depressed and really sad. And I noticed that it wasn't just about missing your party though. There was like a lot of other things that like were floating about in my space. Right. And it made me come to this realization because there were so many moments during that where I was thinking, Shire, you're being ridiculous. You have so much good going for you, right? And this is that spiritual teaching of be positive, right? But I also wanted to just recognize and acknowledge that all of your emotions have validity to them, and they come up and they present things to you, and sometimes they don't feel good. And sometimes, there's this thought process of just be positive, just be positive, just be positive, turn it around. You can do this, but I feel like that's really kind of gaslighting yourself in a way.
It can be.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right. And so there is a delicate balance between allowing yourself to slip into a depression that lasts so long that you become harmful to your own self. You create energetic blockages, you start getting yourself even more sick. Like, obviously, it's not great to stay in that space, but I do want to acknowledge that it's not always positive. Our experiences are not always positive. I don't think we came here to only ever experience positivity, because if we did, we wouldn't understand the contrast. We wouldn't know what that feels like. We actually wouldn't even know what it is that we truly want without the other side of it telling us what we don't like and what we don't want. Right. And so I recognize that giving ourselves a little bit of, grace, and not putting judgment towards myself for feeling sad, and allowing myself to actually experience the emotion and let it come out, is just as important as being positive,
I think there's a common misconception that because somebody goes through a quote unquote spiritual awakening, that they have crossed this barrier into a land of rainbows and sunshine.
And
that's not the case. With a spiritual awakening, it's recognizing that you're connected to all things always. You are a fractal of I am, and love is the most important, in my opinion, lesson of all. However, to understand the vastness of and the infiniteness of love, we have to experience being separate in a sense from it.
Right.
To truly appreciate the gravity of it all around us all the time.
Right. And just the want to find ourselves wanting to go back to where we truly come from,
Mhm. Mhm.
and as like not the word I'm looking for. This is part of my COVID brain, but like reencompassing. No, not really. Reattaching. I don't like attachments, but just rejoining back to the space
Mhm.
of all that is, and all that is that love frequency, right? And so
Mhm.
it is kind of it's a space where I try to zoom out and look at it from different perspectives. And I think that little practice is very beneficial, but I don't want to also, say that the experiences that we have in moments of, sadness or, moments of depression, or just experiences that are not this like light, airy, fluffy crap, not crap, it's great, but
Yeah. Stuff.
but just like, right, but I'm just saying like that it's not validating your own experiences when you just subside that and you try to repress the emotions that you have that don't feel good. That actually does more harm than allowing yourself to feel through that and
Right.
and
Right.
express it.
That's 100% valid. When we brush things under our, theoretical emotional rug, we are containing them within us. And when we give ourselves space and time to feel through those, we can actually move through them into the next thing.
Right.
And, it's important that we give ourselves that space and time to be able to release. And, it's a good practice to look for the silver lining, but there's a time and a space for that too.
Right.
And, just like with grieving, just because you've gone through a spiritual awakening doesn't mean that you won't grieve the loss of someone or something in your life. That's part of it. And then moving forward and recognizing that we're still connected, we just have to foster and create a new relationship now with an energetic being rather than that physical being.
That's absolutely correct. And this is kind of a journey that we're all on, right? And I feel like a lot of just from what I've seen, in my experiences and just how I'm feeling it out, I do feel like we're in this progression of getting into a state of awareness, and being aware that I don't feel great today. I feel sad today. Could I feel better? Sure. Is that the space I want to be in right now? But you have an awareness of it, right? Like you're
Of
fully
your
aware
choice.
of your choice, right? And that's kind of the thing. It's like I'm choosing to work through this emotion at the moment, before
Mhm.
we, started on this episode. We were chatting about it and I was sobbing, and I needed to do that. I needed to release that. And
Mhm.
that was something that, at first I wanted to apologize and say, I'm so sorry I'm acting like this. Like, and that's that judgment. That's that self-judgment that we experience when we're not feeling great and when we're processing emotions like that. But then I quickly caught myself and was like, no, this is just the way it is right now. And that's happening. And I need to process this, and that's
Mhm. Mhm.
okay.
And if you find that you are continuing to ruminate over something, and maybe you've done grieving, you've felt the emotions, and you're just kind of stuck in this pattern of perpetuating those lower emotions, then it is okay for you to set a time limit too. And that may be minutes, it may be hours, it may be days.
Yeah.
But setting a time where you say, you know what, I'm still feeling this, and I need to allow myself to feel it for a little bit longer, because otherwise I'm just internalizing it and holding on to it.
Right.
And I know that that can be really tough, for the people around us as well, because, as people pleasers, we want to make people feel better. but learning how to respect that decision, that choice that that other person is making, and support them in that. Okay.
Right.
You can say, let me know if you want to talk about any of this, if it would help. I'd also be happy to just sit here and be with you.
So, what are some of the ways that we can start to feel a little bit better during these moments, right? And these are some of the things that I like to practice. Um, and again, this is not about you need to change, right? This is about opening your awareness to what it is that you're experiencing, being aware that you have the multiple aspects of all of it, right?
I wrote this down a minute ago. One purpose of your earth experience is to know and experience these lower emotions, these lower, quote unquote, lower experiences.
Right. We're just going to say it's lower because it doesn't feel great, but you know, throwing judgment at it. So, but what are some of the ways that, you know, so the first thing I would say is being aware of where you're at. How do you become aware? You work on self. You work on yourself, knowing who you are and how you behave and how you feel and how you process and what is it about you that allows yourself to understand those things is one of the most important things that you can do. And don't feel like you're selfish for doing that and taking the time to do that. I mean, we didn't call our entire podcast Love Always, Self for no reason, right? Like, I mean, the whole purpose was to know and understand that when working on self, it does impact every single thing else in your life and your experience, and it does impact others. And so even if you feel like you have to look at it from that perspective just to understand what we're talking about, that's what we're talking about. But
mm-hmm.
but again, like looking at your own personal being and who you are and how you experience things and how you process your own emotions and how you navigate them is going to be the best and first step to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you have the awareness to see, I don't feel good today. I'm not in a great emotional place. What do I do when that happens? For me, I want to feel through it. I want to process it because I don't want to hold on to it, because I've learned in my little experience here that my little but mighty experience here. I've learned that creating energetic blockages can really do harm to your physical body. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And so instead of me shoving it down or drinking it away or whatever else that I used to do to suppress and seemingly be perfect and happy all the time, I've learned that I need to sit and look within and process these things and either cry it out. And if that lasts for a few days, cool. Showers are great for that. You know, and or do whatever it is that I need to do. But I also understand that I'm considering the different aspects of what's causing it, and that there is a silver lining to it, and that there is a positive situation attached to it, because there's always that polarity. There's always that one end of the spectrum versus the other. It's just part of our existence. It's part of the entire quantum realm in which we exist. There's always this, right? So I mean, but I have my own awareness to that. So what's the next thing that I do? I understand that. I process. I work through those emotions, but my end goal is to come out of it and not stay there. So whatever that looks like for you. For me, it's sitting out in the sun, grounding, meditating, talking to my best friend, you know, working through, having a conversation, finding a resolve of some sort, because that's my analytical brain. So those are the things that I like to do. Rest, relax, binge watch movies or shows or whatever, you know, or just sit in a corner and cry, or sit in the shower and cry, or talk to you and cry, because that's what I did this morning. So, but I mean, but the whole point is that I'm getting through it, and I don't want to sit in it for longer than I feel like it's necessary.
I know one of the big things is letting go of self-judgment in that, not letting go of your worry about how other people are perceiving you when you need to process.
Yep.
Screw them. If they're not there to support you.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
I one of the things that I would also suggest is pay attention, right? Pay attention to what keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Sit with it and even ask it, like, what is this telling me? What is, this sadness, this guilt, this anger? What is this telling me? And it may be that, you need to learn how to step into your power again. It may be that, well, this is really sad and we are grieving the loss of an idea that we had about how our life would look or how we would be or who would be in it.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about your ultimate goal of it.
Yeah.
Is to get through it to the other side. And, one of the other things that I really do a lot is journal, because it helps me to process the emotions. Journal and talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. You're also a good writer.
And sometimes it takes talking to other people to see other perspectives. And that's when we need our support system. When we are recognizing, and it's completely okay because we're human, that we are in this cycle of, beating ourselves up and feeling worse and, seeing the negative. And sometimes you need another perspective to help see something different.
And for those that are the person that someone else is coming to, it's important to recognize or even ask the question, are you needing someone to hold space for you in this time? Not fix you.
Please don't suggest we'll see the positive.
It's like a dagger.
Ugh.
And when you're working on self and you know that you're already looking at
there's
those different aspects,
resistance that comes up in that, and that's not helpful, right? Because that's typically not the intention of the person that's telling you to be positive or see the silver lining. That's usually not the person or the intention to make you feel worse about it. Unfortunately, many times that can be what occurs. So maybe as a suggestion, asking, are you wanting to stay in this space and continue to feel what you're feeling? Is that what you're needing to do right now? Or, let me know if you need some help seeing some of the positive, or I can just be here with you. I don't have to say anything. I think a lot of people struggle with, what do you say?
Yeah.
A lot of times, nothing is needed.
Yeah.
Just being there and hearing, listening, just being.
And I think there's so many times where people are trained and taught throughout life that being sad or have experiencing emotions of that sort is a negative thing. And
you should hide that from other people.
Right. You shouldn't do that. So the natural response in those teachings is just be positive, which is honestly, it's a form of suppression. So it's that exact block that I was just talking about that you're not processing by doing that. Right. I think that, if the person that is, is asking for advice because they feel stuck, and they don't know how to move through it, that's different. You know, it's different, but come with sounding advice.
Going back to feeling concerned about how you are perceived to other people. So feeling like you need to hide your true emotions, that creates more separateness as well.
Yeah.
Whereas sharing who we really are and what we're going through, good or bad, whatever our perception of it is, allows us to create more and deeper connections with those around us as well. Because we're all going through some shit. Yeah. And if you deny it, if you hide it, you're just trying to be one of the fake people on social media, pretending that everything is perfect.
That is exactly right. And that is something that we are not. There is no, and I'm going to say this time and time again, and I don't care how many episodes I say it on, there is no such thing as perfect. And whoever invented the word and the definition behind the word perfect, I mean, quite frankly, suck it, because there's no such thing as that, because we are all having our own individual experiences to learn everything that we can possibly learn about who it is that we are, whether that's in this particular lifetime, whether that's on our, soul level, whatever, the fractal of source that we are, perceiving each other as individuals. Like, we're all here to have that. And we came to this particular experience to experience polarity, which in that case by itself means you're going to go through some shit.
And if you don't process it, you will continue to need to go through the shit.
Exactly.
The more you resist, the more it will persist. The same thing with those negative emotions. The more you resist feeling through them, the more they will persist within your body.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I do wonder how the Buddhists do it, but yeah, it's cool. I have questions.
Still that life journey of learning.
True.
So it's not wrong to feel down or to feel sad or to feel hurt. I don't want to say it's wrong to not allow yourself to go through those emotions, because that's not wrong either. That's just your choice. It's just what you're choosing to experience and hold on to or let go of.
Right.
So don't feel like you have to always be positive or always have to appear a certain way. Let's be real.
Yeah. Just that. Let's be
Authenticity.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation with me. And thank you for hearing me out this morning and holding space for me to process, because it was certainly helpful. And as always, it's helpful to engage with our audience. So please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, leave notes, whatever it is that you want to do. Hit the bells and whistles. Ask us questions. We're more than happy to provide responses or look them up, because we like the research aspect of it as well. So again, we're not perfect and we don't know everything. So,
even though like our experiences don't feel perfect, they are perfectly made for us.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I was going to say that earlier, but I was just dissing the word perfect. So I just decided not to say that.
Perfectly imperfect for us.
Perfect. And we're done.
Alrighty, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate you always. If you need anything from us, want to hear more, want to hear about a certain topic, like Shyra said just a minute ago, please let us know. We love engaging with you guys, and we are just so appreciative of your presence here, there, wherever you are. We love you so much. And don't forget to love first,
love last,
and love always. Bye, y'all. Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first,
love last,
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.